Okay, exercise 320 part 3 asks us to fill in the balance sheet, or just the trial balance, excuse me. Well, I can't figure out all those numbers in my head, so I'm going to resort to trustee T accounts. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to write down as we go through what the accounts are. So on first transaction we had common stock and cash. So I have cash for $20,000 debit, and I have common stock $20,000 credit. I'm going to go check and see if we have opening balances. Yes, we did have an opening balance in cash of $12,000, and we had an opening balance of common stock of $50,000. The next transaction is May 30. It says we provide services to customers for cash and on account for $35,000 and $30,000 respectively. So I have $35,000 cash. I have accounts receivable, $30,000, and I have revenue credit of $65,000. And the next thing it tells me is that we paid salaries to employees for $23,000. So I have salary expense of $23,000, debit and a credit to cash of $23,000, because that's what you pay them with, cash. Okay. And then the next one it tells me is that we purchased rental space for a year for $12,000. Well, that's an asset. That's prepaid rent. $12,000. And a credit to cash, $12,000. Then it tells me I purchased supplies on account. Well, supplies is another one of those accounts that I'm likely to have an opening balance. Matter of fact, we adjusted that, if you remember right. So the opening balance was 8. So we had 8. And our ending balance was 5. So we had supply expense of 25. So supply expense, debit 25, credit supplies 25. And then we paid dividends. Debit dividends, $2,000, credit cash, $2,000. And let me take a look and see what else is up there. It tells us that we had deferred revenue. So we had unearned revenue, deferred revenue. Had a $5,000 balance, but throughout the year it tells us that we earned that, so that's a debit and a credit to revenue. And let me take a look at the rest of the accounts up there. We took care of cash, $12,000, supplies, 8, land, $60,000. We'll put it down. I don't think we're going to need it, but I'll put it down. Land, $60,000. Add deferred revenue, $5,000. We took care of that. Common stock, $50,000. We took care of that. And retained earnings. So this was not their first year in business. So retained earnings at the beginning of the year was $25,000. So that pretty much gives me the numbers that I need to do my adjusted trial balance. Now technically you could have all figured that out in your head, but I ain't nearly that smart. So my deferred revenue is 0. My revenue is 70. My cash is 30. And my common stock account is 70. Okay. Now I can use these numbers to go through and fill in the adjusted trial balance. So while it doesn't say do T accounts, the most efficient way to come up with these numbers is to do T accounts. And now I'm going to copy the numbers from the T accounts to the adjusted trial balance. And that's really the easy part. I have cash, 30,000. I have accounts receivable also of 30,000. That's just happenstance, that's just a coincidence. That does not have any relationship one to the other. Prepaid rent, I have prepaid rent of 9,000. Because remember we had 12 and we used up 3. Supplies, we were told we had 5,000 left. My accounts payable are 22,000. I didn't mean to skip land, I just did by mistake. 60,000, just bringing that forward. My salaries payable were $4,000. We're told that in the adjusting entries. My common stock from my T accounts was 70,000. My retained earnings from the beginning of the year was 25,000. My dividends were 2,000. My service revenue was 70. I had 35, 30, and the 5 that we earned that was prepaid the year before that was deferred. My salaries expense was 23 plus 4, the 23 that we paid plus the 4 that we accrued for salaries payable for 27,000. My rent expense was the 3,000 for the year. And my supply expense that we figured out was 25,000. Total both sides, and if you total this, it comes to 191,000. And if you total that, it also comes to 191,000. No, you may not just total one column and copy it over. That's not the way to do it. Okay, so let me get that all the way up there so you can see it. There's the adjusted trial balance at year end. Requirement 3, exercise 320.